These markets have just been an absolute riot. You know, it was a tough day at the desk today. I'm going to do a nice quick recap, go over this fast and easy, and yeah, basically this price action is tough. If you don't have a big enough stop, you're getting tossed around and stopped out, and you know, it's just a really hard market to read. But let's just get into what I was seeing in the morning and go from there. So, coming into the morning, you know, this is how the week has looked so far. We pushed higher, and then yesterday we had this slide down, and I was really not excited, but I really wanted to see this gap here fill. And I had a short on yesterday. I ended up getting out around here somewhere because I was assuming that this gap would have filled yesterday before market close, and clearly it didn't. So price came back on me. I had my stop in profit. I got stopped out anyways. No big deal. But yeah, so the overnight session opens lower. We have a gap down here. We still haven't filled this gap yet. We have a little bit of room to go. So as you can see, the buyers take control. We get a push back up, and I just, you know, there's got to be some buyers stepping back in after this big sell-off. And we get above the point of control. As you can see in the London session here, the buyers or sellers step back in. We pull down a start of day VWAP. We get a nice bounce off it. Then we come back through the point of control, and then we find some support. On both these moves down, found support at the value area low. So looking at this, you would want to be thinking to be short, you know, with this big sell-off here, and then, you know, these two moves down, but I still don't see it. We still got this lower low here. We've put in a higher low here. We still got a ways to go before we get back down here. If anything, I could see this gap filling and then price basically, you know, something like that. But let's just see as we get into the market open and go over my trades and go from there. But, you know, I'm leaning long. But again, these, since the beginning of the year, these markets have been a tough read. So, you know, you just got to basically read and react to what's going on in the market. Let's get into the actual trades themselves. So this is my first trade. And as you can see, price opens here, pulls down, and right here where we found support, actually NQ had filled its gap from the start of the week. ES still had a little bit of room to go, but it seemed to find some support here, and then we took off. Take the New York VWAP, we come take the opening range high, come up to the point of control, we hit some resistance, pull back down, and I decide to, as this on this bounce here of the start of day VWAP and the opening range high, you can see the buyer step back in, and we get up to the point of control, and I said, you know what, we've already engaged it once, we're going to do it again, and I'm hoping we're going to do something like that, and I get in long just 2 micros. I just, you know, I wanted to trade 5 to 10 micros this week, and I just haven't been feeling the price action. I haven't been loving it, so, you know, I'm going to try and mitigate my losses, play on the safe side. I don't need to make all my money in one day. I don't need to make it all in 1 week. I just need to survive. So we get this push up here. We come up to previous day's VWAP, and this was my original TP. So what I did was I took half the position off here, and I locked my stop just below the initial balance. I had to get off the desk for a few hours, so this is one of the, I want to say, not more than 5, probably not more than 3 times in my trading career have I left a trade on. Actually, probably not more than twice. This might be the second time I've left a trade on and not been at the desk. It was something I needed to overcome just for the sake of, you know, I don't want to be always glued to the desk, and there will be situations where, like this one exactly, I've taken profits at my TP. I've locked my stop here in profit. I'm not going to lose anything. If anything, I'm going to lose some of this move. And I need to be okay with that because it's going to happen, especially having a 1-year-old, and you know, we're busy and things happen, and I can't just be in the middle of a trade, and I might need to step away from the desk for a minute. So anyways, me and Miles head out to go do a couple things, and price chops around here at the previous day's New York VWAP and then pulls back down through it. I get stopped out. No big deal. I'm up 124 on the trade. It was 2 micros. I'm not upset at all. I was at the desk for the main portion. I managed it perfectly how I would imagine I should be managing my trade. So, you know, just a win all around. I'm back at the desk now, and let's look at the second trade. This is the second trade. Now, this is where, you know, I tried to I tried to read the market as best I could. Price pulls back down here to the New York VWAP, sits around, we come up, we break and hold the high-a-day VWAP. Now, something I've been noticing lately is these first breaks of the high-a-day VWAP actually, after prices push so high after market open and we've set a high-a-day, they usually don't sustain. These are usually some sort of, you can call it a bull trap or whatever you want, but everybody and their dogs can get long on this move. I waited. Price comes back down off the initial balance high. We come back into this high-a-day VWAP. In my head now, I've convinced myself it's the second break. We've stayed above this time. We're making a higher low. We're above the New York VWAP. We held it nicely. I could see this wanting to do that now. And we're at the point of control. For me, this was a key level I was watching. So here we break it, we come back below it. Instead of entering down here, I just wanted us to see us take the point of control. We took it, I got long. The one thing I didn't notice now is NQ is way under its point of control. So that kind of made me weary. This was after the fact I noticed that. And we come down here, hit the New York VWAP, we pull up, and now as you can see, we make this lower low compared to here. Pull up, and we hit this point of control again, and we reject off it. As we take the New York VWAP, I decide, you know what, I'm not liking this price action. I'm taking half off now. I take half off. What does it do in the next 3 minutes? Boom, I get stopped out. So, I mitigated the losses a bit. Not a lot, but something. And for sure that counts. That adds up over the year. So I'm down 170 on the trade. I should have been down, I think, 230, something like that was my loss would have been. But so I mitigated $50 or 20% of the trade or the loss. It is what it is. I shake it off and I move on. So seeing all these confluences, it gets me thinking and getting into the next trade. We get this move down. I'm looking to actually short it now. When you look at this looking back, the buyers try to step in here, the buyers try to step in here, and here the sellers just come in with a lot of selling pressure. As soon as we take this opening range high, I get short. Price chops around, and this is where I start to think, like in my head, like this conversation we had about algos and algos just coming down and stopping you out. And price chops around in here, and we struggle at the New York VWAP, and I'm not starting to like the price action again. But again, this is just such a tough read. Like if you look at this, how rangy is this? It's gross, just gross. And price comes back up to the point of control. And I'm thinking we're going to reject off it, but I had my stop a little too tight. I should have opened it up, but, I thought I'd be safe above that much. Realistically, I should have been up here, but in hindsight, when you look at this, I would have got stopped out up there. So I take a full loss on this trade. I'm down 173, so now I think I'm down 350 or something on the day. And, I got a $500 max loss limit. So I'm really stubborn and I'm really feeling these shorts. I just feel like every time the buyers step in, the sellers come in. And you'll see in the very last trade I took, this was, bending some of the rules. I normally don't like to ever trade against the VWAP, but there was just something about this shorts today and the sellers being around that just, I don't know. I don't know what it was. I think I was just being stubborn. So what do I do now? I take my full loss here as we come back down. We reject off this point of the control. I'm watching Bookmap and I'm watching the CVD and I'm watching the orders and I'm watching the selling pressure coming in and the volume. And I decide to get short here. Price comes down back below. We sit around, chop at this opening range high. We push higher. Now, this is where either we're going to take this previous day's VWAP and shoot up, and I'm probably going to close the trade or take a full loss on it, or we're going to reject off it. And what did price do? These orders are still sitting down here at 57.25. There's a big block of orders sitting up here like 57.90, 57.85 to all the way to 5800. They've been there all morning. This order down here only came on after we had the big move down after setting in the high day. So I get short. This is what happens. We come back down. MOC's coming on. As you can see here, we're getting this like, it's a battle under the point of control. I'm going to take this risk. I'm going to gamble. I'm looking for MOC to pull price lower. I know these orders want to fill down here. And heading into MOC, I basically lock my stop above the top of all these pins. MOC comes on. Boom. We get this push down. This candle flips on me. We're back into the opening range high. I take half off here. I pull my stop down to the New York VWAP. And we pull lower, and as this candle makes this low and then this candle goes to flip, I can see on Bookmap the buying volume and selling volume, and it's starting to dry up. And here you can see the sellers were clearly in control on the selling volume side, and here you can see the buying volume coming in and the selling volume starting to dry up. So I decide as this candle flips, you know what, I'm going to take my profits. I'm up 115 bucks on the trade. This was a high risk, not really high reward trade. So something I don't recommend any new trader does. This is something I don't, I want to practice doing. This is just one of those situations where, I took an unneeded risk and it worked out in my favor. And there's a coin flip that I could have went the other way. So it's not something I recommend at all. But anyways, so up 115 bucks on that trade, and it basically brought me down to, like, I think I was down $80 on the whole day. Now, coming back and looking at the calendar, I talked about in the beginning of the week, I came in having a $500 a day max risk loss. I basically had it here. I made a large chunk of that back here, and then, today I was able to mitigate the losses. That fourth trade, saved me about 50% of this loss. But again, like I said, that trade is not something that I practice or something that I'd be wanted doing all the time. So all in all, I'm still down, 83 bucks on the week. I can't be mad. We have small green, big red, big green, small red. So I'm happy with the way this week's unfolding so far. And yeah, I'm going to finish it strong tomorrow and go from there.